a pleasure to have you join us today on the program Healthy Living on Independent Television. My name is Adesuwa Osa Owagie, and every other Monday we'll try to do our best by bringing you, new topics on health issue. Today is 2nd, tomorrow is 3rd, and tomorrow happens to be World Hearing Day, and it is held every 3rd of March each year. This is to raise awareness on how to prevent deafness and hearing loss and promote ear and hearing care across the world. With the theme, Hearing for Life, don't let hearing loss limit you. Do not let hearing loss limit you. A lot of times, 1, 2, 3, or 4 things might be happening to somebody health-wise, and then that person starts like a disabled, so to speak, or somebody with one challenge or the other. And some persons just dwell on that and wouldn't want to do anything. But the theme for this year's celebration or Day of Awareness is do not let hearing loss limit you. So today, we're going to look at the ear and you. How do you take care of your ear? And don't forget that once the ear has problem, the tendency that the nose, the throat will also be affected. That is why we have ENT doctors, in most hospitals and across the world. So I have 3 beautiful people, so to speak, though a gentleman is amongst them. And we're going to be talking about this topic today, okay? So we're going to be looking at the ear and you. And then you can ask questions later. So join me as I make welcome the lady beside me, a native. Yeah, she's the only very African woman here today. Okay, join me as I make welcome Mrs. Deborah Omodaranle. She's an audiologist and speech pathologist. Happy to have you on the program, madam.
Thank you.
All right, seated in our midst here is blessed among women is Dr. Eustace Osegaria. I hope I got that right. He's an ENT consultant surgeon. Happy to have you, doctor.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, and we also have seated beside her, my extreme left. She is Mrs. Gloria Asikidi, ENT nurse practitioner. It's nice to have you join us, madam.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're looking at World Hearing Day, which is tomorrow, March 3rd, and we want to know why this theme has been chosen. Do not let, ear loss limit you. We want to know why that theme was chosen, or why you think that theme was chosen, or if that theme is very apt. Like, because you're the only man amongst us, let's start with you, doctor.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Not wanting to start the introduction all over again.
Yes.
But I think for our viewers at home, your composition of guest is very important. Right next to you, she's a speech therapist and a speech pathologist. A lot of people do not know what that job entails. That's one of the reasons why I had to spell it out.
Yes.
There are some people that early on in life they could talk. They had some form of disease or the other, one form of disease or the other, which affected their speech. There are the people, she's among the people, she's a speech pathologist and therapist. She takes care of such people. There are some other people
from early age.
Yes, there are some people acquired, they were talking well before, maybe they had a stroke or a problem with their frontal lobe or something, and they now had speech impairment.
Okay.
She's right there to take care of it. She's in the department of ear, nose and throat, head and neck surgery, DBTH. She's in clinic every day, Monday to Friday. She's right there to take care of such people. There are some people that are stutterers. We call them stammerer. It's something curable. That's what she does.
Are you for real?
Yes.
That stuttering can be cured?
Yes.
Even the one that is very acute. Some before they say go, they would have some would stamp their feet on the ground.
Yes.
Do some can be cured.
Can be cured.
Okay, that's good to know.
Talk to them and talk them out of it.
Okay, that's good to know.
Teach them how to talk. That's what she does.
Okay, so viewers, when you want to ask questions, you know who to direct your questions at. Okay, because I know that right away some persons are already saying, "Oh, this is nice." Somebody who can talk another person out of stuttering. That's awesome. Okay,
then myself, I'm an ear, nose and throat surgeon and consultant at UBTH. Then we also, the ENT is a very big group. Like you say, a speech therapist here, and a surgeon. Then she's an ENT specialist nurse.
Specialist nurse.
She's a nurse with special interest, and she has subspecialized in the field of ear, nose, and throat. We are also in the business of training nurses, audiologists, and technicians. So we have a full.
So it's a full package, a big one.
Yes. So I just felt that your composition here of guests is not just to be taken
for granted.
It should not be taken. We have a speech therapist, a consultant, a surgeon, and an ENT specialist.
Okay, so let's go back to the theme of this year's celebration.
First of all, the day March 3rd wasn't just taken arbitrarily. The ear, when we in our documentations, we draw the ear like this.
Okay.
If you look at the ear, it's shaped like an opposite 3.
Yeah.
So March 3rd is 3-3. So because of that, the World Hearing Day all over the world is March on the 3rd of March.
3-3.
Yes, not just in Benin, also in USA, also in the United
Kingdom.
Globally. And different activities are done. Like you just mentioned, before we forgot, we brought some of this for you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's nice.
So, like you just mentioned, the theme this year is Don't Let Hearing Loss Limit You.
Yes.
And the theme is apt because there are some people that feel they are deaf and that's the end of the world. Some of them are just doing some things that is far beyond them, far beneath them. I don't want to mention any job description, but there are jobs they are taking on, which is fine.
That is, they ought to have done more, or be doing more.
Much more. Okay. So the essence of all of this is that they are limiting themselves.
But you know that sometimes it's not the fault of these persons who are suffering this loss.
Yeah.
You know, the people they grow up with, those who stay with them, those that brought them up have a way of limiting them because of that little impediment. Let me just say little impediment, because judging by your words, you said that they can do far better than what most of them are doing now. I know a couple of them who do mechanic, shoemaking, all of that. You know, they just do something that ordinarily they would have not been doing if they had somebody like push them a little bit.
And the truth is that it's quite easy. It's just I don't know how much time we have, but I'll just chip in a few things. The ear is divided into 3 parts: outer, middle, outer or external, middle, and internal ear. And any part of this will cause hearing loss. A disease in any part of this will cause will cause some form of hearing loss. In the external or outer ear, something as minute as wax impaction, just wax blocking the ear, can cause hearing loss. Some of our nurses that work on that have actually syringed out some patients' ear. You see the patient that just syringe, and you see the patient almost kneeling down to hug the nurse and say, "I thought I was deaf. I can hear now." You can imagine. So such a person, if it's a child, for example, that child, you give that child in school something as minute as a wax impact, that child can't do well in school because he's not hearing what the teacher is saying. Then you cannot go on to the middle ear. There could be things like chronic suppurative otitis media. There's a perforation in the eardrum. It keeps discharging. That on its own can cause some hearing loss, or there is fluid accumulation in the middle ear, which
what could cause that perforation?
A myriad of things, from traumatic, from a slap, from an ununderstanding parent or an abusive parent to an abusive spouse could cause that. At times, an untreated ear infection could cause an ear discharge and a perforation, which can progress. This is a little beyond the scope of this, but I think I'll mention it because it's quite important. The ear and the brain have a very close connection, and the bone that separates them is a very thin bone. So diseases of the ear can easily progress into the brain. So if somebody has a discharging ear that is left unattended for a while, the pulse is going to go to the brain. And in no time, the person will be having seizures, convulsions. The person may present to us unconscious. At that point, the patient is now more of a neurosurgery patient because then they may have to do a borehole, as in open up the brain to drain out the pus. What just started like a nuisance, an ear discharge that was a nuisance, now becomes something that leads to
so those of us who take the ear for granted and say, oh, it will heal itself.
It's not just discharge, carry something and this thing is disgracing me. It's beyond this thing is disgracing me. So at that point, Now the problem goes beyond hearing. The problem is now this patient is unconscious or is having seizures, irrational behavior because it's now
something that ought to have been taken care of easily.
Yes, and when a patient has ear discharge from a perforation in the ear, patient comes, we prescribe appropriate antibiotics, toilet the ear, institute other forms of treatment. That perforation can close on its own.
Okay.
Sometimes when it doesn't close, we can take the patient into theater and close the perforation, and the hearing does improve.
Okay.
That's when it's in the middle ear. Some other times, the end organ of hearing is what is called the cochlea. Some other times, the problem could be the end organ of hearing itself, the cochlea. At that point, you may have to do something more than drug, maybe something more than tympanoplasty. You may have to do what we call a cochlear implant. That's a big surgery to put an implant to replace the end organ that is damaged, or you could just give something as simple as a hearing aid. The hearing aids are not so cheap. They are not so readily available, but there are processes in place where people get some of these things free. Like on Tuesday in UBTH, some of these will be given out free. What the hearing
That's tomorrow.
Yes. So
Okay,
what the hearing
we'll
aid
talk
does
about all that
yes,
later.
What the hearing aid does is, if you wear it, it's almost as if somebody's talking with a microphone. It amplifies every speech, so that the person that is hearing impaired, it's as if somebody is shouting, whereas nobody is shouting. So for you, if you wear the hearing aid, it's as if somebody is talking with a large microphone to you, whereas it's normal talk. So for somebody that is hard in hearing, somebody is talking with a loud microphone, it helps.
It helps.
There's something of import is the fact that if a small child who is hearing impaired does not start correcting the hearing deficiency, be it hearing aid, be it tympanoplasties early, what would happen is that the person will not acquire speech, because you need to hear to talk.
To talk.
So you may not even be able to say A, B, C, D because you didn't hear A, B, C, D. So the prescription is within 6 months of life, patients should start having some form of hearing correction, be it hearing aids. There are other things that can be done, sign language, but that's far down. Sign language, assisted devices, those are far down. Hearing aids, they do a lot of work, they work a lot, and person can live virtually a normal life. And we talk to the parents, the caregivers, there's so much that this person sees, person has hands, can walk, can live a very normal life. You see a lot of people, even some people in Ghana, you see a lot of people, they wear hearing aids.
I've seen a couple of that.
Yes, and they live a normal life. It's just as if they are wearing a Bluetooth and they are enjoying themselves. Okay.
Let me stop you there for a while. Let me go to Mrs. Asikide, who is a specialist nurse in this field. All right, the first point of contact of every patient is the nurse. Okay, and then you also do a little bit of examination, and then you write your note before you send to the doctor. Now, parents come to the hospital and then they present. Well, what is your first, how do you talk to this parent? Because a lot of persons that come to the hospital, they come with fear. They come with anxiety. Yes. They come with this, I don't know what's going to happen to this child. So that's how they present to the nurse. How do you deal with such person? And how do you deal with children who are very, very difficult? I've asked you 2 questions now.
Okay. Thank you very much. For the patients that come, for the first time they are coming into the hospital, yes, the fears or fear of the unknown cannot be undermined. As they come, we are there to receive them in a very friendly way. We create a very good rapport with the patients and the relations, especially with the children. You find us playing with them, tickling them, watching them, observing them, and knowing that the area of their interest. And you see us coming around that area, and they just fall in love with us. So in that process, most of them that really come, it's not as if the problem is that big, but it's just because they are not aware of what the problem is. So they come with that fear of the unknown. Are they going to, especially when they come in with foreign bodies in the ear, which is common with children from 2 to about 6 years, they are fond of putting things in their ears. Just as he was talking about perforation. Simple poking of the ear with even the cotton bud that we think is made to clean the ear can perforate the
I remember vividly that one time a nurse did say that we should throw our cotton buds away, use it for something different, but not for the ear.
We advocate.
Okay, so how do we clean the ear? Because that's the readily available thing we use in just, sometimes we even use our keys, our biro cover and all.
Yes, feathers, chewing stick.
Yes.
Even some use toothpick.
Yes.
They are very, very delicate to the tympanic membrane. Because now I have to answer this one.
Well, please do.
So the tympanic membrane is like a very slim cellophane. It's cellophane-like.
I'm feeling very guilty right now.
That by the time you even squeeze it, some cellophane, you squeeze them in between your fingers. There will be a perforate. Yes, to perforate. So the same thing with the tympanic membrane. That's what they call it, membrane. Very slim. And now you are poking your ear with cotton bud. Where the wax is being formed, that is the cerumen, is the outer tutor. It's not the inner.
It's not the inner.
And in the process of cleaning it with khaki, bio cover, some even use bio cover.
We have done a lot.
Cap, the tube,
we have done a lot
of biro, stick, anything that can enter into the ear.
Yes.
And in the process, they push that cerumen further in, where it will not be absorbed. Like in that clinic where we create this rapport, we give health talk.
Yes.
I will tell them, look at your skin.
Please just give the health talk.
As glossy as the skin is there any time the oil on your skin gets excess and it starts dropping? No. There's never a time. So also the cerumen in your ear will not get excess to be dropping out. So don't keep putting things. When you even introduce things into it, it's foreign, and that gives it a viability to produce more than what is going to be used up.
Okay.
So leave the ear cleanses itself. So and if peradventure you feel a blockade or a fullness in the ear, come to the ear, nose and throat clinic in UBTH where we are working.
Is it free?
Not really free, but then it's taking change. Okay, it's taking change. Health is wealth. So you come around instead of poking it, and that thing that you're using will not cause maybe a foreign body, will not perforate the tympanic membrane, and will now begin a long process.
I can imagine somebody thinking now that we have been using cotton bud, not today. We have been using keys, biro, you name it. We have been using all of this and nothing has happened yet.
I'll tell you an experience.
So,
this young man with khaki, he was cleaning the ear, or pretending to be cleaning the ear, probably saw a babe or something, and just wants to show that he has a car, or and was poking the ear. And somebody else was rushing or running and just slammed on the elbow. And as the truth, the kid went straight and perforated. The next thing he could see was blood, and he had to run down. Of course, it takes a long time for that tympanic membrane to heal, because it's a long process that you must adhere to. So back to the protection of care of the ear. Don't clean your ear. We always say it. Don't put anything smaller than your elbow into your ear. And for the children, smaller than the elbow. Anything smaller than your elbow. Okay. Don't poke it into the ear.
That means don't put anything into your ear. That's what it means.
What it means. Then for the children, don't put anything smaller than their own elbow. Don't give it to them to eat without supervision. Neither do you give it to them to play. They're not talking about toys. That's why most children under that age 6, they come with foreign body beads, foreign body, they are pieces of toy pieces, eraser, pencil lead, all sorts of, even paper, they put in their ear. So when they come, of course, with the rapport we create, they will even hold up and tell you they want it removed. But you find out that there are some children that are really, really uncooperative. And for those children, we always tell them, if you don't cooperate, we will operate. Because they may not have to go through the process of going to the theater for it to be removed under anesthesia. That one is not done in the clinic. They have to go to the theater. And it's bigger sum of money than one would have been removed. Very simple. As we have been here, we can remove up to 10, 20. We would have removed up to 10.
Please, I need you to re-emphasize the fact that nothing should be put into the ear, because mothers, once we give birth to our baby,
they buy cotton bud.
We buy cotton bud. I did. That is why I said I'm feeling so guilty. I did. You buy cotton bud. Let's clean the wax. All these are things that will remove body odor from the child. That kind of a thing. That was the thinking. So we need you to re-emphasize the fact that nothing must go into the ear. The ear for the children. I know parents. oh, this wax is so much, let's take some out. Oh, this is not good. You know, we see as part of being dirty to have ear wax in the ear.
Yes. In the process of taking some, wanting to take some out, you will push in some because you don't know or you are ignorant of the anatomy of the body.
Yes.
When they come, there is a way we position this spinner to straighten the external auditory canal so that we can even see with our headlight or head mirror.
Okay, like what we have on
headlight or head mirror or the otoscope you use to visualize to see the position of the wax or the feature or the characteristic of the wax. So with our instruments, which you don't have at home, and the skill, we went through the training, you remove it without causing damage to the surrounding tissue or to the tympanic membrane. But if you have to do something at home by trying to attempt or trying to remove it, you find out that it may not come out. It may not all come out.
And a lot of
and in that process,
we want to do it by ourselves. We get
traumatize the child. Yes, you traumatize the child and also cause fear in the child. Now, by the time the child now gets back to the hospital, like where we have the specialists on ground, they will be scared. They won't want you to touch their ear because of that fear of the trauma pinning them down, forcing them, wanting to remove, and already
with a lot of shouting, screaming, and threatening too.
So, but if you they put it like when we give it up, we tell them if peradventure there's incidents of a foreign body, you just come back from market all the way at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. and you have eaten around 9. They are telling you, mommy, Stella, who is 4 years old, put something in the ear or I saw something white. Don't bother. Don't spank the child. Don't shout. Don't tell the world, hey, this pikin won't kill me.
The first reaction is to spank the child.
No, just calm down. Relax. Just tell the child, don't worry. Tomorrow, I'll take you to see the ENT, that is ear, nose, and throat doctor or nurse, and they will remove it for you.
Another crazy thing people do is this. Once something like that happens, the next point of call is the chemist around.
Yes.
You run to the chemist around and say,
give
chemist,
sensitization.
Do this for me.
We tell them all the time, even when they come to the clinic, as many, we just sit them down and give them these basics. Because once you are informed, you can't be deformed. You'll be empowered. And you too, you will go back home and tell your neighbors. So peradventure somebody else's child does the same thing, you say, no, don't worry. Tomorrow we will go to UBTH. Don't worry at all. Don't beat her, don't shout, don't panic.
But people are usually afraid to go to UBTH because of the long process of seeing a doctor.
It's no more there. There's no more long process. There's no more long process.
Let me just quickly want to add in one
thing
because of when you mentioned chemist. There are some drugs or some agents that we call autotoxic agents.
Yes.
Autotoxic agents.
Auto is ear. Latin for ear. Toxic, you know what it is for some people. Toxic. So we are also called otologists or otorhinolaryngologists. So
auto what? Otorhinolaryngologist.
Rhino is nose.
Otorhinolaryngologist.
So the auto is the ear. So when they say something is autotoxic, it's dangerous to the ear. So there are some medications that are autotoxic. In developed part of the world, they are what they call over-the-counter medications. There are some drugs where you should not just go to the chemist and pick.
You must have a prescription.
You must have a prescription. You can go to the chemist and access Panadol. The laws are here, but the people enforcing them are not not
readily on ground.
Yes. So people can just walk into any chemist
and pick any
drug they like. And some of these drugs they pick how they like. Autotoxic. Several people have taken some drugs. The person was hearing well. There was one girl that was particularly bad. She was supposed to get married in 6 months' time. She kept writing in a paper asking me, what will I tell her fiancé? So that her fiancé will still marry her. Like, I had to call the fiancé that we can't help her with some hearing aid. She took quinine, and that was the end of it. They gave her quinine and gentamicin together.
We try not to call the names of drugs on the program. They gave her those quinine is like a general name.
They gave her those drugs together, and each of these drugs is very autotoxic. They gave her a combination of it. Both. The girl kept crying because when she came in, did the hearing, well called pure tone audiometry for her, it showed profound hearing loss.
That's one of the disadvantages of not going to the hospital,
Yes.
patronizing patent
she lost her hearing. She was in tears. So when you mention chemist and all of that, over-the-counter medication is very important. There are some drugs that can knock off hearing. Let's stay out of it. And even in the literature of some drugs, they write it at the back. This drug can cause this. Then some people they start this orthotoxic medication. Their ear will be making what we call tinnitus. The ear is warning the person. This drug you are taking is killing me.
Okay.
This drug you are taking, the person continues taking it. And because the drug was gotten over the counter, the person goes to the chemist or whoever, you don't take it seriously.
That's side effect of this thing, then they'll give you another one.
Until the ear is completely knocked out. And again, I'll just quickly chip this in. Noise pollution, another destroyer of the ear. Some people go to a club, they are there all through the night, or they are in church, they want to sleep.
Or even in our buses these days.
Prolonged exposure to noise over a long time knocks off the ear. If you must be exposed to noise, there's what they call ear plug. You can wear the ear plug like you are a soldier, you are in the firing range, you are learning how to shoot, or you are refreshing your ear plug. It reduces the noise, get into your eardrum, get into your your cochlea, and that way you are safe.
What about this earpiece that we use with our phones and everything?
It could be dangerous. It could be dangerous when the volume is increased. And to be fair to the manufacturers, even when you are getting to unbearable volumes, for good phones and good, they will state it. You see a pop-up. You may hurt your ears if you go beyond this. But a lot of people don't bother listening, a lot of people don't bother checking, and they keep increasing the volume. There's the noise or the music is closer to your ear with an earphone, so the volume should be properly regulated.
Okay, the program is Healthy Living, and we're looking at your ear and you. How well do you know your ear? How well do you take care of your ear? What do you do to manage your ear properly? That is what we're discussing here, and we of course have some erudite medical personnel here who are doing just that. Now let me come to you, Mrs. Omodaranle. You are an audiologist and speech therapist.
Yes.
Now let's take it, because this ENT is a very wide thing, honestly. I'm beginning to know that, you know. Let's look at this speech thing. You find that some children don't talk well. You know, even when their peers are already talking clearly, that child does not talk well. And sometimes as parents will say, it's just a matter of time. He or she will grow out of it. Is this something we should keep in the home, condole it, and wait for that day, that expected day that may not come, that child will begin to talk well and hear well? If a child does not talk well, does it mean that the child has got problem with the ear too?
Thank you. We always advocate early intervention.
Okay.
As a mother, your child starts hearing from the womb. So when the child is born, there are some signs that the child will start giving for you to know whether that child hears or not. When a baby is sucking, there is a loud noise. The child will give a kind of sound to start for you to be aware that the child is hearing very well. But if at a sound of a loud voice or loud noise, the child did not give any response. So you should start taking notes of that particular baby from that time. Then let's say everything goes on well. There are a lot of things, just like our doctors and our nurses have said, that there are a lot of things that can lead to speech problem. So it could be sickness, it could be what we call the sickness. The sickness are in different grades. So it may start from when the baby is developing from the womb. It may start after the child is being born, but as a mother, you start noticing the awareness, the reaction of your baby right from when the child is growing up. Then when you notice that this child, you are comparing your child with other children, and you see that the response is not well okay, there's no need for you to wait till eternity. You can come around to see the professional. If after the assessment the child is very okay, we will be told that, okay, your child is fine, these are the steps you need to take. And if the child is not having adequate things, then the professional will tell you, okay, these are the steps you need to take so that your child can be able to come out of that condition.
At what age should the child be talking properly?
Some children, we have some children, each children can develop their speech at different stage. Okay. Some children may be very fast. From 9 months, you see a child has already started responding to styles gradually. Yes. They can say monosyllabic words. Then from some children, by 1 year, they have some level of vocabulary. Then from 2 years, 18 months, 24 months, these children, they're already having short sentences like, mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, food. Some will say, mommy, food. Or daddy, give me, take. Short, meaningful sentences.
Yeah, you know, some children can actually talk, but the words are not usually clear.
Yes.
Yes. So maybe a child wants to say water, and the child will say tata. Even at 3, at 4, yes. Give me tata. They say dimmy instead of give me. You know, that kind of a thing. So how do you help such a child?
Okay, those are the ones we call, they have speech, but they are having what we call articulation disorder. Okay, articulation disorder. So under articulation disorder, we have some errors, which could be omission, distortion, substitution, or addition. Like so a child that see a rabbit and say wabbit, yes. They have substituted W for R. So when the child is being assessed on time, like we said, early intervention. So with the therapists, we can now encourage the child, train the child in the right pronunciation of that particular word or sound that he or she is not pronouncing.
What about some adults that will say heg, hink, hand? You know, there are some adults that find it difficult to pronounce words. They can't really form words.
Yes.
Can they be helped? Yes. Can they be helped?
Yes, they can be helped. They can be helped. So if they come out, that's why we're saying that once you just notice that the way I'm saying this thing is not right, it may be, the person may not know. People around can suggest to that kind of person that, you are not talking. We have a lot of patients that come that maybe one of the doctors from UBTH or around them will say, you are not talking well. I know a speech therapist, go to UBTH. Okay. I have a mother and a daughter that has a cleft palate. Okay. But the woman, she just accepted it like that maybe that's the will of God. She did not know, she did not see anybody to direct her. She didn't know the awareness was not there. Okay. So when the daughter also has the same condition, she just accepted it like that. But when she was told, go to UBTH, she came around, then the therapy session began, and there was a lot of improvement.
All right, Elder Living, that's what we are doing today on television. Your ear and you. How much of your ears do you know? So I want to come to you now, Doctor. A lot of times people have problems with their ears without even knowing until it is very late. You talked about humming. Sound in the ear. A lot of us will just hit the ear like this. Some will decide to put water inside and say, okay, let me just put water. Maybe there is some ant inside my ear. Others will go to the chemist, as we said, buy, give me ear drop. My ear, they do, and then they say, okay, I don't want to give to you. Now, what are the signs and symptoms that we have problems with the ear?
Okay. The signs and symptoms are varied because the ear is actually an organ that houses. Okay,
let me just hold you there first and quickly announce this. You can start calling in now to 052-290-573 to talk to the doctor who is a specialist and a surgeon, ENT, and then the nurse who is also a specialist. She has done all the books to become a specialist in that field, and of course the audiologist and speech pathologist in the studio. So if you have any problem with your ear, just ear, throat and nose, if you just have any problem with ENT, please call in, ask the doctors. They give you directions on what to do. Don't go and start putting water in your ear or run into one chemist or the other. Or my brother used this drug, it will be good for me too. That's not what we're talking here. Go to the hospital, see a doctor and get healed. You can actually go deaf. So doctor, signs and symptoms that the ear is having problems.
I'll try as much as I can to be very brief, but so that we can actually appreciate it, especially as viewers at home. I'll do a little anatomy. The ear actually houses two organs. One is the organ for balance. There are a set of organs for balance in the inner ear. The semicircular canals, the utricle and the sacral. Then the organ for hearing, that's the cochlea. So at times you see somebody, he feels everywhere spinning, turning around. It's a symptom of ear disease. Though there are some other things that could cause it, but the ears, the semicircular canals, when they are having problems, somebody can feel a sense of imbalance, feels everywhere is turning around, feels dizzy. That's a symptom. Then somebody can, when the cochlea, the organ for hearing, is having issues, the person can come up with poor hearing. There are different ways people can manifest poor hearing. I'll start with the less obvious or simple ones. We are two people are in the same room watching TV. One of them wants the TV increased. The other one doesn't want the TV, doesn't mind. The one that wants the TV increased, both of them are seated the same distance from the TV, but one of them isn't hearing, that's why I want the TV increased. Obviously, that person has a problem with hearing. It may be a mild form of hearing loss, which could progress to a severe one eventually, but you tackle it as soon as possible. Then, you are talking with somebody, every minute, for everybody say, I beg your pardon, or he has a problem with his hearing, which he doesn't know yet. It may be some form of mild hearing loss, maybe when you shout he hears, but the fear is that it could progress. And it's something that maybe if it tackles right away, it will not progress. The other symptoms of ear disease, like what we mentioned, the human you talked about, we call it tinnitus. Noise in the ear. At times, it's a warning that this ear is suffering from some level of assault. It could be noise, it could be ototoxic medication, it could be anything, but the person should get the ear checked. Okay, let's quickly take this call, doctor. Hello, caller, good afternoon. Hello? 052-290-573 is the number. Hello? Okay, we lost that call. Some other times it could be pain. A lot of things could cause pain in the ear, from infections and inflammation in the outer ear to the same thing in the inner ear. It could be pain. Interestingly, pain is one of the first symptoms. And some people, some surgeons or physicians say typhoid for pain. Because if not pain, a lot of people will not present with that. Maybe pain is, a patient suffering from ear pain is more likely to present than a patient having noise in the ear, because the pain, especially when it's severe, never allow the patient to sleep. Okay. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. 052-290-573 is the number. The number is right there on your screen. Hello. Hello. Please, when you're calling, reduce the audio level of your television set. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey. I'm calling from Benin.
What's your name again?
My name is Jeffrey. I'm calling from Benin.
Okay, you're welcome. Please ask your question.
So I want to ask a question. What is the cause of leaking ear?
Cause of leaking ear. Can you reduce the audio level of your television set, please? Okay, you want to know the cause of discharge from the ear. Is it water or pus?
Hello?
Is the discharge watery, just water or pus?
Pus.
Okay, doctor.
Okay. There are a lot of, good afternoon, my brother. Thanks for calling. There are a lot of things that could cause a discharge or a leaking ear, like you mentioned, a discharging ear or a leaking ear, like you mentioned. It could actually be something in the front of the ear, which we call the external ear. Usually when that occurs, the ear will also be paining the person. There could be an infection in the external ear, which will cause some form of discharge. It could also be that the eardrum has a hole, the eardrum has been perforated, and that on its own could also cause a leaking ear. The ear will be discharging pus. The perforation of the ear could be acute. That's what we call acute suppurative otitis media. That one, it just started, maybe 3 or 4 days old, 2 weeks old. It could also be chronic. It has been on for 3 months. In the chronic one, the thing just keep discharging. Before you know, there will be what we call a permanent perforation, a perforation that cannot close without a doctor's intervention. Sadly, there are some other times when the thing leaking from the ear is not pus, it's not water, it's what we call cerebrospinal fluid. It's the fluid surrounding the brain and the meninges. That one is usually from trauma. That's maybe a blow, maybe a boxer or a spouse slapped the other, or a father or mother slapped the child. That could also cause that kind of thing, but mostly more severe injuries like road traffic accidents or a fall. That one, CSF will be leaking from the ear. That one needs urgent attention. The fluid usually in that case is clear. So like I said, there are so many things that could cause an ear to be discharging. But what is most important is, once somebody notices the ear is discharging, person should, as a matter of urgency, get to the hospital. I don't know how long they have been on in the program, but the demarcation between the ear and the brain is quite thin. So infections and diseases from the ear can easily track up to the brain.
Okay.
And when they do, it comes with devastating complications.
Okay, so let's do this call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello? Hello? Yeah, good afternoon. What's your name? You know what you do for me, lady? Reduce the audio level on your television set or move away from where your TV is. All right, are we good to go? Yeah, I didn't say leave your television. I said move away, please. When you're calling, just reduce the audio level. It's not so difficult to do. Reduce the audio. Perhaps you want to tell me that you're having issues with your ears right now, okay? So just reduce the audio level on your television set. Move away from your television set or switch off your television and then call. Because there is no way you will be talking while your TV is on, and you know, it will bring a lot of discussion. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Tell us your name and where you're calling from, please. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Tell us your name, please, and where you're calling from. Can you tell us your name? All right, please, esteemed callers, do us a favor. Reduce the audio level on your television set. Otherwise, move away completely from where your TV is, all right? Okay, caller. Okay, while we're waiting for more calls, let me meet you again, Mrs. Omod Daranle. Okay. Okay, hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris.
Okay, how are you doing?
I'm very fine.
Okay, quickly ask your question.
Yes, I want to know where to get medication of this illness is talking about.
Okay, you want to know where to get medication. You know where UBTH is? Do you know where UBTH is? It's a government hospital. Yeah. Okay. When you go there, ask for the ENT department, yeah? And then I think it's very close to the emergency.
Yeah.
Yes, so when you do that, you will be able to reach any doctor there. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I was going to ask you this question. When a person is deaf and dumb, how do you help that person live a normal and fruitful life?
Okay. The first thing we do for that person is to go through a series of counseling.
Okay.
In order to rehabilitate the person back to life. So a lot of counseling activities in every area of life will be given to that kind of person. Then, just like we have mentioned, we will do tests to check whether the person still has a kind of residual hearing, where that when the hearing is amplified, the person can also benefit, be able to hear better. Then another thing, just like our doctor has said, is cochlear implants. It's a kind of surgery whereby a device is being put to replace the bad cochlea that was there. So the person may be able to hear at the end of that surgery, and the person will be able to live longer life.
What about talking? What about speech? Because usually when somebody is deaf, the speech is is usually affected somehow.
Exactly. That's where I'm going. Hearing and speech goes together. So when somebody's hearing is affected, we have in speech we have what we call quality, pitch, and volume.
Okay.
The quality and the pitch of the person's voice will start degenerating. Then the quality of the speech and the fluency will not be very presentable, not be able to hear very well. Speak very well. The speech will not be pleasant to the ear any longer. So at that stage, we'll start speech rehabilitation. We start training the person how the sounds, the words are being pronounced in the right way. With the help, if the person benefits from hearing aid, then gradually the person will be able to, the person's speech will be getting better. But if the person cannot benefit from hearing aid, then we talk of cochlear implants. After the cochlear implants must have been fitted, then the person also go through series of therapy session, and the person can be able to live. And another thing, if it is now very severe, worse, then the idea of total communication, which is the use of sign language, setting.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Esekidi, as a nurse in this field, a professional nurse for that matter, let's take the theme again. Hearing for life. Don't let hearing loss limit you. A lot of persons have been limited because of hearing loss, just as doctor said. A lot of persons, as a woman, and let's do woman because I'm very particular about the cause of a woman. As a woman, as a mother, there is this woman who has this problem, whose hearing loss have really limited her, sometimes even to a beggar on the streets. It never do well, you know, she has just resigned herself to fate. We need to push this woman up a little bit. How do we get there?
Thank you. As a mother, as a woman, hope is not lost for such individual. And if we have such people in our environment, is to bring them close. There are facilities for them whereby they can be trained to acquire some skills that they can use to better their lives.
Okay.
That is not the end of life, to go begging. How much is she really going to make from it? I know some people or some society, they encourage...
Let me hold you a bit. Hello, caller, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Reduce your audio level on your television. Tell us your name. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Okay, we lost that call. Okay. Hello, I can hear you. What's your name, please? Hello? Oh, we're having issues with network. Okay.
So as I was saying, those of society encourage these persons to beg.
Yes. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello?
With continuous sensitization,
yes,
enlightenment.
Yes.
Like on Saturday, we went to the marketplace for a road walk. We were able to come at least to the grassroots to discuss with them, to talk to them. So if you have such persons in your environment, encourage them to come out. We have facilities on ground whereby these people can be rehabilitated,
yes,
and made to acquire some skills like hairdressing. I remember one time I went to Kaduna, went to their skill acquisition center.
Okay.
The woman with very big salon,
okay,
quite classic, was owned by a hearing impaired individual. Okay. We don't call them deaf, we say hearing impaired. She owned the salon and she had other likes.
So the loss of her hearing
could not
limit her.
Yes, it could not limit her, neither could it impede her from doing what she wants to do.
Okay. All right, so we have been talking about the ear and you, and I'm sure that a lot of persons will want to know the number to call to do a follow-up. A lot of persons have also been trying to reach us on the program without success. But if you call this number, you'll be able to talk to the doctor, okay? The number is 070-3304-5863. The number again is 070-3304-5863. And that is all we're going to do today because our time is really up. We've eaten deep into the time. So, gentlemen and ladies, I want to say thank you very much for being part of the show. And I hope we're going to do this again because there's so much to talk about the ear. Thank you very much for being part of the show.
Thank you for having
us. All right, people, we're going to see you again on Monday. Those of you who enjoy slapping your children, slapping your spouse, just slapping people generally, you may bust somebody's eardrum, and that would not be funny. So if you must discipline your children, get a cane and whoop the child behind very well, but not slapping, okay? So we'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye.